Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to compare and contrast what I believe, and I think most people would agree, are now the two best Disney cruise ships that there are. The Disney Fantasy and the Disney Treasure. Let's do it. So I really had an idea to do this video because I did one when I got off the Wish to sort of compare and contrast the Disney Fantasy and the Disney Wish, and because I just feel like everyone loves the Fantasy. I would say most people that you ask, and they have been on multiple ships, they will say it's the Fantasy. But there is a new girl in town, and her name is the Treasure, and she is so spectacular. Now, I have been fortunate enough to do Concierge on both the Disney Fantasy and the Disney Treasure. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to compare my experiences on both. I'm going to tell you which one I think is better. So let's start. Okay, so let's start with the room itself. Like I said, I was on concierge level for both the Fantasy and the Treasure, and I was lucky enough to have a one-bedroom suite on both. Now, these two one-bedroom suites on these ships are completely different in terms of the look, the layout, just all of it. There are so many differences. So first, I would have to say, I really love the way that the Fantasy has done their furniture. I find it very luxurious and lavish. It's got these deep jewel, rich tones to it. And frankly, I love the couch area. I'm really a huge fan of that living area right there and the way that it's set up, and you're right next to the balcony door. The couch is extremely comfortable, got a great little coffee table, and I have to say one of my favorite experiences was the night that I got on turning on a Disney movie, opening the door, having that ocean breeze go by and the sound of the ocean, and watching a Disney movie was just heavenly. One of my favorite nights ever on a cruise ship. So that's what I love about the Fantasy. Now the Treasure is going to get my vote because the layout of the rooms and the placement of everything on the Treasure is far superior to that of the Fantasy, and I'll tell you why, in my opinion. When you walk in the door on the Fantasy, you have right in front of you basically the living area, and then off to the side is this other room, whether it's on the right or the left, depends on which room you get, and it's basically the dining area. Now, the dining area is very nice. You can have your breakfast there, and I think that's a great place to just sit. But the bedroom then, the main bedroom, is behind a wall to the back of the room. So basically that is to say, when you're in the bed on the Fantasy, you don't really get a view of the water. And to me, the view of the water is kind of the whole point of being on a cruise ship, so that's very important to me. So that is where the Treasure takes over, because they switched this layout of the one bedroom. I believe the Wish is the same too. But they switched that layout up, and they have put the bed and the bedroom front and center right next to the balcony door, so you can be lying in bed, watch the water, have that ocean breeze sweep over you while you're in bed, and it is absolutely magical. So, but I will say, where the furniture part is concerned, that couch, and it's the same on the Wish, and I don't know why, the couch in the living room area of the Treasure and of the Wish is so incredibly uncomfortable. I love the lounge area. I love that living room area. And yet it was so uncomfortable. We found ourselves not wanting to sit there. It's really bizarre. It's very hard. It's very uncomfortable. I know it's a pull-out, but I think the one on the Fantasy is too. It's just not soft. It's very hard and comfortable and almost kind of cold, whereas the one on the Fantasy is very luxurious and soft and cozy. So don't know why, but that couch definitely does not get my vote on the Treasure, but everything about the Treasure, that 1-bedroom suite, that one gets my vote. Okay, so now one of the biggest things about the concierge level is, of course, having access to the concierge lounge. Now, these two lounges on the Fantasy and the Treasure could not be more different. Let's start with the Fantasy. So the Fantasy to me is very small. It's actually very cozy. I think there is at max 20 to 25 tables at the most. There are points where it can feel very crowded in there because you meet before the show's there, when the cocktails start to happen. The cocktails every day are from 5 to 10 p.m. It's just, it's beautifully decorated. Everyone there, the service is, of course, amazing on all concierge lounges. That's just the way it is, period. But that lounge just feels to me like an afterthought for some reason. They just didn't give it a lot of space for whatever reason. It's got a beautiful buffet with food out all day. It doesn't have a proper bar, so you have to ask, the staff in there for drinks, which is totally fine. And then, it's small. Now, let's talk about the Treasure. So the Treasure is the same as the Wish, and this concierge lounge is beyond spectacular. It is about 5 times bigger than the lounge on the Fantasy. It is absolutely huge and spacious, and it's bright and white, and it is so elegant and beautiful. It is just beautiful. Whereas the Fantasy is a little bit darker and cozier, this one is bright and white, and most of all, when you walk in, there is a huge bank of floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the ocean. So the Fantasy is completely enclosed. There's no windows at all. Are you on the water? Are you not? I don't know. So when you walk into the concierge lounge on the Treasure, you are met with a floor-to-ceiling bank of windows overlooking the ocean. That's just what it should be. It is so gorgeous and bright and lovely. And there also is a proper bar. So, when they serve those cocktails between 5 and 10 p.m., you can go right up to the bar. There's so much space. There's a whole little, beautiful little kids couch where they have a little TV for them. It actually has a Star Wars theme to it, but the most elegant and beautiful, very classy theme to it. I love it. And it's set up so wonderfully. There are just, I'm going to say 40 to 50 maybe 40 tables in there. So there's just plenty of space. Never once did we not get a seat or feel like it was crowded. Then in the back area is where you have your buffet set up all day long with the cookies and the treats and oh my gosh, it's all day long, and it is so glorious. But one of the biggest things, and either I missed this on the Fantasy or they just don't do it. I don't think they do it because I didn't see it. They serve the most fabulous hot food from a menu all day long. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I literally didn't discover this until 2 days into my cruise. And once I did, we ended up canceling dinner reservations because it was so good. The food was amazing, and it was so comfortable and so relaxing, and I was shocked. And it's the little hidden thing that nobody tells you, that they have lots of food, not just the little buffet, but you can actually order beautiful food every day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. One of the biggest things of all was the churro waffle. Can be attained in the concierge lounge. What? So when I truly say that concierge lounge on the Treasure makes you feel like you're in a ship within a ship. Whereas outside, where the Aquamouse is, like, it's crazy, it's fun, there's all kinds of movies happening and people running around and the slides and all that. But then you come into this tranquil, cozy, peaceful environment and you are literally weighted on hand and foot and have drinks and any kind of, like, it's so luxurious. It is the epitome of luxury. It is the hands down best concierge lounge I've ever been on any ship, period. Most of all, here's the big kicker, right off the concierge lounge on the Treasure is the most beautiful patio deck overlooking the water, floor to ceiling glass, so you're seeing everything and sitting out there, and it is at the very front of the ship. And sitting out there, I sat out there every day for as long as I could because I loved it so much. It was my favorite place on the ship, and frankly, it was kind of bizarre because not a lot of people were out there. I don't know why, but it was truly my favorite spot on the ship and one of the biggest perks, hands down, of doing concierge. And overall, I would say it's the number one reason to do concierge is to have access to this lounge. So there is no question that the Treasure gets my vote for the best concierge lounge. Okay, so now we have to talk about the concierge deck. So this is where you sit out in the sun, and this is a private lounge, a private deck where you do have a hot tub or multiple hot tubs or like a little sort of wading pool kind of thing. And that's just for concierge guests. Now, the one on the Fantasy, I think that's probably the biggest disappointment on the entire ship where concierge is concerned. The deck for the Fantasy concierge is completely enclosed. You feel like you might not even be on a ship because you cannot see the ocean. They have this frosted glass for privacy, which I understand that, but at the same time, you can't see the ocean. So here you have what should be like this gorgeous, like, private lounge overlooking the water. You can't even see the ocean. It's very small. I think there's only one hot tub, if I'm remembering correctly. And truly, I am not kidding. I think I was on the Fantasy for 7 days, 7 days. I went up there once, hated it, never went back. Like, literally. So, this is a big thing because you're paying a lot of money for that extra sort of, that next level of luxury, that next level of just extravagance. And this is such a step back from other parts of the ship where you're not concierge that I would just be like, I wouldn't sit out here for 5 minutes. There's nothing to look at. I'm like in a bubble. Now, let's talk about the real deal. The real deal is the Treasure concierge deck is gorgeous. It's almost like they figured things out and they were like, I think maybe we give them this part of the ship so they can see out. Wow, did they do everything right? Again, it's got a really elegant, classy Star Wars theme to it with these beautiful murals on the side. It's got a huge full bar. It's got two beautiful, huge hot tubs that are kind of built up so you're really looking out at the water. It's perfect. It's just perfect in every way. Now, the only thing I will say is that the chairs that are lining the beautiful windows overlooking the water, they're all facing in for some reason. I'm almost like, don't we want to be looking out? But yeah, they're facing in, but there are these awesome day beds. Oh my gosh, I could sit out there for hours. And again, it was like the right size. It just never felt crowded or busy. We went up there all the time and there was very few people up there. So frankly, it's just really simple. I mean, there is no question. The Treasure, again, gets my vote for best concierge deck. Okay, so as you can imagine at this point, the treasure has basically gotten my vote for almost every element of Concierge. But what I want to do right now is I want to point out all the perks you get with Concierge, just so you understand it is definitely way more expensive than a regular ticket. And I think a lot of people, and that's really why I wanted to make this video, because I think a lot of people are like, is it worth it? Is it worth the money? And my number one answer to that would be, it's all about the way that you want to experience your cruise and what you prioritize. So let me just take you through all of the perks that you get from Concierge for both the Disney Fantasy, all the boats, or at least the ones that I've been on, Disney Fantasy Wish. These are the perks that you get. So the first perk is obviously when you make your reservation, you get priority booking for the best restaurants and excursions and spa treatments. So you get to make your reservation ahead of everybody else. That's a huge perk. Also for cabanas, which can, as everybody knows, it sells out like immediately. I mean, not only do you get a priority for booking the cabana and getting one, but you can pick the numbers that you want to be in as well. And just so you know, I always pick on Castaway Cay, I always pick cabanas 1 through 6, just because I love to be close to the food and I love that beach and I just think it's ideal. So having that priority for those restaurants, which get sold out, you know, your Remy, your Enchanté, all of those, Palo, the brunches, that stuff gets sold out so quickly. That is a huge, huge perk because that's part of your experience if that's what you want. So again, it's like if you like to do that and those specialty restaurants are important to you, if the cabana is important to you, if spa treatments, special excursions, if those things are really important, then Concierge would be good because it gives you that priority. The other thing that I love, and I mean, frankly, at this point, I've taken Concierge on those 3 ships. I am so outrageously spoiled that I'm in big trouble because going backwards is going to be very difficult, if not impossible. So there you go. But one of the great things is that priority when you arrive. And you can arrive anytime you want. I think it's after 11. And I am not kidding. It is the most beautiful, flawless, simple process. It is so easy. They literally, from the moment you step through that sliding glass door into security, they're taking you through basically by hand and whisking you through not only security, but into a special concierge area where then you meet your concierge. They basically take you and put you right on the boat. There is not one line, there is no waiting, there is no nothing. And once you get on that ship, you go right into a beautiful lunch that they have prepared. The one on the Treasure was 1923. And it's such a lovely way to experience that first entrance onto the boat. And it's so flawless, and they have perfected it at this point. And that goes for all the boats. So you do get that special treatment right off the bat, which just makes getting on the ship so lovely and easy. And it just starts your cruise off so beautifully. So huge perk, in my opinion. One of the other major perks for Concierge is getting first seating for any theatrical show on board. So basically what happens is you go to your concierge level about 45 minutes, 40 minutes before the show starts, and they whisk you down in either like a private elevator or through like kind of this private way. You get free popcorn. And you get to pick, the entire theater is empty. You get to pick any seat you want for the show. It is such a fun thing to be looking at this huge, gorgeous, empty theater and knowing that you could sit anywhere. You can sit in the front row, you can sit in the back row, you can sit in the balcony, you can sit right in the middle, you can sit anywhere you want. This is a huge, huge perk, especially now that the shows are really, really getting good and they're so popular. And I think people have to wait in line and do all of that. So this is a major perk. That for me is a huge perk because I love the shows and I think most people do. So another thing that's really amazing about it is they just make your life so easy in the concierge lounge. The concierge team will literally take care of anything. If you want to change any dining reservation, you don't have to go to guest services and wait in that line. If you want to change excursions, if you want to change spa appointments, if you want to get a spa appointment, they will take care of anything. Like I said earlier, it was really interesting because the food was so amazing in the concierge lounge that we ended up canceling some reservations, and it was just as simple as telling them, no problem, no muss, no fuss, absolutely, we'll take care of it, and that is fantastic. Another thing that of course is a huge perk is you get free cocktails every single night from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. and all of that of course is included. And when I tell you they will make you any drink you want. I heard people coming up with insane concoctions, having things made for them, just all over, like whatever you want, whatever you can dream about. I'm boring. I just like Prosecco or beer. So, but people were having all kinds of fun drinks and things like that. And it was, it's the ultimate like luxury. You just go in and whatever. And on top of that, like they do show sports. And I was on the boat when my beloved Eagles were playing the Super Bowl. Go back and watch that video if you haven't seen it. It's the coolest thing ever. They were playing it, of course, in the middle of the ship on the big Jumbotron or whatever it's called, the Funnel Vision. Jumbotron. That was amazing, but they played it in the concierge, so I literally ended up watching almost the whole Super Bowl in the concierge lounge because you got all the drinks that you want, could have all the food that you want. I got right up and close and personal with the TV. Everyone was rooting for everyone, and it was so much fun. That was an amazing thing to know that they do play those sports. I don't know if they can get them all the time or whatever, but obviously the Super Bowl was a big one, but probably so they can get most anything. I wouldn't be surprised. So that was a huge perk. But those free cocktails from 5 to 10, that's a big one because, if you're having to pay for any kind of alcohol throughout your whole trip, that can get very, very costly. So there you go. So of course, the special appetizers and these beautiful, just from breakfast through lunch and dinner, it is all day long. They are serving and making beautiful little appetizers and pastries and cookies and little sandwiches. And the food is so good on all of them, like across the board, on both of the ships, on all the ones that I went on. The food was so delicious. Truly, I am not kidding when I say you would not be disappointed if you just ate the concierge food the entire time. You really wouldn't. I'm not kidding. It was that good. And also, one time I was having breakfast and just wanted sausage. They were like, "Oh, we'll go to the kitchen, the restaurant of the main restaurant, and get that for you." That's the kind of service we're talking about. And when it comes to food, you could be very comfortable just having concierge. Honestly, to me, that was a huge perk because it also allowed you to be relaxed and comfortable and have this kind of tranquil element if you didn't feel like going to one of the big restaurants and doing a whole to-do and you just wanted to relax. I know that after a few days of eating at that level of food, because the food is so incredible, I wanted to just start to have some smaller meals, and the concierge was a fabulous place to do that. So basically, overall, when it comes to the different concierge lounges, would I say, is it worth it or not? Here's what I would honestly say. I really believe that if you want to do concierge, you should absolutely only do concierge on the Treasure or the Wish. And it's basically because I think those lounge areas and the deck area is so special. It's so luxurious and amazing. I really think you're getting your money's worth. And that menu as well. I am not kidding. The food is so good. And like I said, I could be wrong, but I don't believe they serve that hot food in the fantasy concierge lounges. Same goes for the Dream, I believe. So I just feel like the Treasure Concierge is 1,000,000,000% worth it if you're thinking about doing it, and all those things I listed, if they're important to you, seeing the shows first, getting those great dinner reservations, and just having the ultimate luxury of being waited on hand and foot. I mean, it is as good as they say, but it's probably better. I just feel like the Concierge, truly, on the Treasure and the Wish, the Treasure, it just makes you feel like it's a ship within a ship. So you're kind of able to navigate two different experiences, this loud, crazy energy of the middle of the ship and all the fun and the games and all those things. And then you have this ship within the ship of walking into the most luxurious, gorgeous atmosphere. It's clean, it's elegant, it's just so luxe, and you're waited on hand and foot, and it just feels like you can have some peace and serenity and tranquility and relaxation away from all of that all the crowds and all the people. And, it's just, I don't know. I feel like that is one of the best parts of cruising, is that kind of serenity, but then you want to have the fun too. And the fact that you get to have both of those things is really the best of all worlds, in my opinion. Well, we're just talking about Concierge, whether it's worth it or not. I absolutely believe it is 100% worth it if you're going to do the Treasure. Not just because of all the reasons I said, from the concierge lounge to the concierge deck to the food to all of it, but also because it's a 7-day cruise, and that is an amazing thing to be able to experience that level of service for 7 days. Mwah! Perfection, like absolutely the best. So if you're gonna do concierge and you're gonna try it once and you're just like, I'm gonna do concierge, absolutely do the Treasure. Hands down, I think you're gonna love it. I know that I did, and there is no question, 100%, I will be back. So I love both the ships. Disney is amazing. I can't wait to see what they do next. And that's my pick. So I want to thank you guys for joining me. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you soon.